Thank you so much for staying with Lookuptv. This is Lookup News. I am Nasina Lima, and on this other side of the studio, our night's conversation. Today we are talking ending violence against women. This is a topic that has been making headlines in the recent weeks, with over 5 women being killed in just the recent 1 month. And just to talk policies, legislation, are there any laws that are protecting women against violence? What should be done more? Do our leaders have something on that? And as well, right here on set, I'm with Mary Ariviza, who is a former Nairobi MCA. Welcome. Right. And this conversation, we need to find solutions on ending violence against women. But just give me a general feeling. We're 25 days into the new year, and our work as journalists, we have to bring in the stories. A lot of murder that is happening. So give me your general view.
It's a very sad situation because we have very young people with very great potential losing their lives very simply, and it's like life is nothing.
Right.
And so it's a very sad situation for us as a country. But we need to know that this is just not for this country only. I think it's a worldwide phenomenon. And we need to set up, the way you're saying, legislation, but also life skills.
Right.
We can't just do it as usual. So while we do legislation, but in the reality is legislation without rules that guide them. Even if those legislation up, we'll still have things going wrong. So it's important for young men and women to have life skills.
Right.
Because I think that is also lacking.
Right. And when you talk about life skills, where should these life skills be? Is it from the society? Is it from school? Is it from home?
Life skill is a whole spectrum from
right.
cradle to death.
Right.
And what do I mean by that? From home, it's the parents that show the children from the very beginning that these are the do's, these are the don'ts, and the discipline, and bring in order into their lives. What has happened is we have, in the recent past, we have parents, especially the middle class, who are thinking that I had it very rough when I was growing up, so I don't want my child to go through what I went through.
Right.
And that isn't really wisdom, because you are a middle class in this country, probably a professor, you know, you're a medical doctor or what, because of the discipline your parents did. So you decided that you want to throw the water plus everything out through the window and make this child to have a laissez-faire kind of life.
Right.
Just to backtrack a little, that about 3 main types of parenting. We have the laissez-faire, we have the democratic, and we have the totalitarian,
right.
You know, where you don't allow the child to breathe. They are there to be seen, not to be heard. And then the laissez-faire is where you allow them to do whatever they are doing without question, without asking anything. You know, they do whatever they will. All you do is to provide them with food, money for leisure, pocket money, and that. You don't care about worry. And then we have the democratic, where there is some freedom to an extent, but at the same time, there is check and balances where you set boundaries. For instance, that when you're still young and you're still in my house, I can still be able to go to your room without really prior notice.
Saying that it's my privacy.
There's nothing like privacy, because we are allowing them to have that privacy to an extent that they even keep drugs in the rooms without you knowing that these guys are even having drugs.
Right.
Some of them get into some practices that you don't know, because when their friends come, they go into those rooms. You don't know what they are doing. As long as a child is still under your roof, you have a right of not intruding, but they just need to know. There is no locking doors and privacy to the extent that everybody else from the family is excluded from certain rooms. It shouldn't be. We never had it, and it shouldn't be. Because what are you hiding that you wouldn't like us to know? Why are we, all our rooms, the sitting room, and other rooms that are empty. And so we need to have this democratic kind of parenting,
right,
where the child is allowed to air their views, but at the same time they're guided and given guidance. For instance, when you are up to Form 4, before you leave Form 4, make sure you are at home before 6. You may visit and do what and see some things here and there, but be home before 6.
Right.
When you are through, let's say with university, now 8, if this is the house you're coming in, unless you are now moved out, then you need to be home by 8. Those kind of rules help the children to know that in life, you don't do whatever you feel like all the time.
Right.
Sometimes the boss may say no, sometimes the society may say no, so you're setting up boundaries that you just, in life you don't do always what you want in whatever way, and everybody should just be mesmerized with you, thinking, oh, let us just allow freedom, freedom. Because every time when you get into freedom, freedom has got responsibility.
Right.
Anything that is called freedom without responsibility is not freedom, it's anarchy.
Right.
And anarchy means chaos, which it starts with the individual life, and then it goes to the society at large. Right. So from cradle to death, you are in a classroom or acting on stage in life. And it's important to know that at the beginning it's the parents. Then, of course, we have teachers. Teachers are so special and very important. It's very unfortunate that in the recent past also we have had teachers being chased out of schools, a principal being chased out by parents. I know some of these principals may not be up to standard because they are human beings.
Right.
But they needed to ask the administration, Teacher Service Commission, for instance, to be able to remove that particular principal if they are not performing. But for you to go and drag out a teacher, abuse them, and you expect, because even the one who will come next, the children will still not be able to respect them. Right. So we have to respect these teachers because they spent 8 hours or even more with the students than we as parents. Those who are the scholars, it's 8 hours. Those who are boarders, they are actually with them most of their lives. Immediately they join boarding schools, they are out there with them than we are. So when they tell you that your child could be in drugs, please don't just jump and say, oh, you know, anaonea mtoto wangu. No. Investigate. The teachers spend time with them. And then, of course, we have role models. Unfortunately, we who are leaders in the society, sometimes we are not good role models. We do things on TV, we do things that now in social, with the invention of the social media. The children are seeing too much of us that we are not good role models as leaders. Right. Because role modeling is very, very important. So we are looking for a time when politicians, when doctors, when they just will not just be minding money, money, money all the time. Right. But they will be thinking integrity, integrity, integrity all the time. Because that way, then you bring up a doctor who will not just chase away a patient because they don't have money. They will keep their oath of office. You know, they have an oath. They are not supposed to just look at money. But in our society right now, even if you go and see a medical doctor, you can be turned away because you don't have money, because you give money before the consultations. Right. And teachers as well. We are having people who are also getting into teaching just because they couldn't do other professions. It is not right. So we are building a society that it's I, me, myself, and I. It's so self-centeredness. We are a communal society, and let's stay ahead and keep some of these African values. They are very, very important, right, and we need to go forward. So it is from home, school, and the society.
Right. Mm-hmm. So then you say this is the foundation, yes, of what, yes, makes a good society.
Yes.
And so then when there's where could we say violence against women? We know that Kenya is largely, it's a patriarchal kind of a society.
Yeah.
So then violence against women is not new. So when we're trying to tackle ending femicide, should we be going back home, back to our parents or forefathers, just trying to uncover the issue?
I see this as a new phenomenon. We had a patriarchal society all through. A few, by the way, you need to know in Kenya we had a few matrimonial, matriarchal societies. For instance, I think the Kikuyus have adapted to the majority of the Kenyan one, but
right.
they were matriarchal. That's why Nguwa Makeri and so on.
Right.
Yes. I think Kisses could have been Kambas, Embus. Merus are patriarchal. Embus were matriarchal. Why do I say that? They looked more, if, for instance, if you marry and you disagree with your husband, you go with your kids as
right.
a woman. These other ones, you leave the children even a one day old with the man to suffer so that he can know you are very important. But anyway, that is just by the side.
Mm-hmm.
While we were matriarchal, it did not mean men were just beating women anyhow. The society was there to check. If you beat your wife anyhow, people, elders would call you, family members will tell you you are going overboard. It was not allowed that women would be mishandled and mistreated. The phenomenon we are having right now, it's not even of married women being battered by their husbands.
Right.
We are having young women who have, what I'm saying, lack of life skills. They have got a lack of training properly, where they think that we use men to live a good life.
Right.
I think that is one of these Nigerian musicians who now proposed to a Ghanaian girl. So Nigerian girls are very upset about it. Let me just use that as an example. Mm-hmm. And somebody came up with a write-up on this, on social media, and said, look here, this girl is just not coming to the table because of how we in social media are looking at this. This girl is bringing on the table brains. She's a barrister. In the UK, lawyers are called
right.
barristers. She's a barrister. She was top on her class. So she's intelligent. Then, when before even they became any friends, she was dancing to the song of the musician, which she tagged him, but she was very well properly dressed. Right. Not half dressed, naked. So what this young man was also just trying to say is that as you look for a good man who has got a car, as you look for a good young man who has got a career and a future, what are you bringing on the table? So our young men and our young women, they must look on what they're bringing on the table. Are you bringing on the table some good brains, or is it just our back and our busts? It shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be. It should be more than what the social media are expounding on and bringing on the table. I'm a counseling psychologist as well. So when I talk about this, I'm talking from the perspective where men now feel they're being used. So if you use me, do what I want to do. So you cannot, if you are a young lady, I'm now paying for you rent. I don't expect another man to come in that house. It's mine.
Right.
So once you do that kind of a thing where you are transacting with a man on another level, you are neither married or you are using them, they will also use you. And so it becomes an exclusive club. He is the one, but he's not married to you. So when he'll dump you again, you are emotionally wrecked. And so you'll pick another relationship again, and you never get satisfied.
But you know, many people argue that we're putting so much emphasis on what the women, what the girls should do, and we're avoiding to talk about the crime that is being committed, that is murder, that is violence meted against women.
But you see, we cannot avoid that,
right,
because we have not taught our girls. I'm sorry, we are women. We must teach our girls to have their things right. When we were in high school, God bless Mrs. Margaret Mwaniki, Moi Girls, Nairobi. We were taught what a boy can do, a girl can even do better.
Right.
And that was those our years. Secondly, she told, in fact, she was one of the people that were opposing affirmative action those days. She said if girls are given affirmative action to go to the university, you know, their grades are slightly lowered. When they sit in class with those boys, the boys will think they are lesser. Are you getting?
Right.
So, we were brought up to work towards making our lives better. And these are the women that you will see. Women like Akina Martha Karua, they are Moi girls. I'm just giving that example of that. I'm not saying it's the only school.
Right.
You will find women of status, women of, character, women that are not relying on men to have self-esteem. There are women who stood out, and I can name quite many in the society. There are many who are lawyers, we have many doctors, we have who passed through principals in schools. What we are saying is, we are not saying that the crimes that are being committed are okay.
No.
But we are saying there's a trigger. In psychology, a trigger, it means there is something that scratches to bring about this. You use men, they will misuse you also. Because it's not mutual. It's not a mutual relationship where take and give. You're using them to run a certain lifestyle that is not genuine, that is not real. We had can you remember recently, it is maybe about 3 or so years ago, when our good medical doctor, very brilliant young lady from Moi University, was murdered by a boyfriend.
Right.
Yeah, because this guy was giving money, and then she one time wakes up and finds that her heart is with somebody else, which is normal with growing up. But because of the issue of money, this guy feels he has been misused, so he revenges, killing that very beautiful, nice young lady. What we are saying is, let's divorce and teach our young ladies to use their brains, to use their hands, to use their legs to carry them to offices or places where they can start careers for their lives,
right,
instead of looking for men to service their lifestyle.
Okay,
because if they service the lifestyle, there is a cost to pay. A man does not just give you money for nothing. You pay. You will pay for it. When
right,
we are growing up, even if you want to get married to a man, it shouldn't be that he's the one who is paying for you rent. He's paying for you to rent as who? He's paying for you rent as who? When you are his wife, it's okay. But when you're still a girlfriend, please, let's not. In some places, even when in the US, for instance, when they go for a date, you share the cost of the meal. In the US, at the age of 16, a young lady or a young man gets a driving license and they are out of their mother's house. Now we are having parents who are now taking care of grown-up men and women at 35, they are calling themselves youth. Which youth? No.
So then if we talk about, you are talking about what empowering the woman.
Yes.
That they should understand their value and possibilities when they work hard. But it's the men who are committing the crimes against women. What's the message for men?
Definitely, we need also to talk to our young men and women at the same time.
Right.
Killing people, this is why I started off by saying about life skill. Mm-hmm. Life skill is, even when you are disappointed, as a man, you don't lift your hand. Not even to kill, but even to slap.
Right.
Great men don't show it by killing. But we have also known, on the spot right now, it is women being killed. We have also known women who have killed men in this country. I think we shouldn't forget that. So it is it's an issue of emotional maturity. A person must be taught life skill on how to handle disappointments. That when you are in a relationship and it doesn't work, there is another relationship you get into. And probably it is even much better what you are going to get than this. Your emotion may say otherwise because you are emotionally involved. But when you move and you walk, you will find that it was better that you never did what you did with the other person. When you teach this emotional maturity, right, that there is such a thing like you can be left, you are teaching this person a life skill for life. Right. That's why it's called a life skill. It's something for life. That when we were growing up, we were taught about these disappointments. For instance, when we were in high school, we were told that when a young man leaves you and says that, oh, you are not very good, don't go locking yourself up in the house, killing yourself, or you cannot get a job, or things are not really working, you go and kill yourself, because we are also talking about a young lady who killed herself in the recent past in CI, because she has been graduated from 2019 and she hasn't gotten a job. What we were taught is, when something doesn't work, like a relationship doesn't work, he has left you, he has gone and gotten another woman, or she has left you and gone and gotten another man. What you do, dress yourself better, think yourself more positive about yourself, because your value is not what he thinks about you. And walk in the street, I left something so good. But if you now go looking like you're so desperate as to kill, actually you've not grown, and your value is equal to what that person thinks about you. So a life skill must be done for both men and women. Emotional maturity, very, very important. And it's a life skill that we must teach. And this starts from the home. This goes through school, primary school. This goes through into high school and into the university. We must teach them that disappointments are a part of life. What about when you get sacked in an office from your job? That is not the time you go to lock yourself in the house and die. No. You look for a better position or a better job, or start low, because like now, for instance, right now we are having economic meltdown. So what you do is look for something that you can do meanwhile, as you look for what you will come
something else,
because that is not the end of your life.
Okay. So, and you have been a legislator in the county assembly. So then, talking about the constitution, doesn't have laws specifically that protect women. You know, it's human rights protecting every Kenyan citizen. Do you feel like there is need for policies and laws to be put in place to protect women further?
There are laws. There are laws. For instance, the sexual offense, whatever, because all these things, if you look, there'll be sexual activities somewhere, which somebody thinks that because of the money I'm giving, I should have exclusive rights. So there are sexual offenses, the gender-based violence. There are laws that have been put in by our good legislators nationally, but also in the County Assembly of Nairobi, we have set up some laws. We have some gender, we have localized that gender and whatever violence. We went ahead and started building under NMS. We build up a house, a safe house for people who are being oppressed and being violated gently. But you know, if laws are set up without change of mind and attitude in our lifestyle, we are adapting into the Western world things, those laws will just remain on the shelf. The society must take those laws. Those rights are also even in our Bill of Rights, in our Constitution, because I participated in Bomas in the making of this Constitution. The Bill of Rights also has got this. There is also very clear set that everybody has got a right to live in dignity. When you are being mishandled and being killed and molested, your head is cut and what, that is not in a dignified way. You are not treating one another in a dignified way. So the laws are there, but the society must impress those laws. Well, how does the society do that? The police officers, for instance, they need to investigate these cases very well, and the culprit are brought to book, because whether the culprit happen to be under 18 or not, once they are criminals, they are criminals. They should be taken to approved school if they cannot be put in the normal prisons. But they should not be left scot-free. I say this very clearly because one time when we had a case that, unfortunately, I just have to think about it because of this. Although it wasn't homicide, but when girls got banned in Moi Girls, we were told that the person is a minor, we cannot know who they are and what. Once they are criminals, they're criminals. They need to be treated as criminals and be brought to book to face the realities. Because that is, again, where we are telling them that when you do something that is against the society, you will get punished. And that should have been done from home. But if home does not do, school does not do, the society must do. So we must not let people to go scot-free because they are thinking that they are minor or what. No. or they are from richer families and some people, so that we do cover up. So the investigators must do the investigations properly, and these people are brought to book. But it definitely, I'm not saying all this and saying that the men that are doing it have done the right thing. No. It's a very sad time for Kenyans, and our men are going through a lot. Let me bring this in. When a man is unable to provide for his family, now we are living the spotlight of girlfriends and whatever. But when a man is unable to provide for his family, he's very emotional and is unstable, because one of the things that makes a man is to be able to provide for his family. So when the society is going through the meltdown that we are encountering, where our money has gone so whatever out of bounds, 160 per dollar. Right. Men are very emotional here, because I've seen a man buy some two pieces of sukuma with, you know, a kabando with three sticks, and put it in these paper bags that we now have. You can see a dejected man. I felt like I was very near. I felt like buying for him, but you see, that I would have even crushed his spirit even further, because I'm not known to him. The thing is, we must handle their fragile emotions as wives, as sisters, carefully. Where we are able to help, let us help, but without bringing it to them that what type of a man are you? They already know, so we don't have to crush them more by by telling them that they are unable to provide for their families. Right. So it's very, very important for us to take care of them. But we are not saying that they must react to everything emotionally. They must have emotional maturity. Intelligence. Right. I don't understand, we have to finish. One more thing. Mm-hmm. Very, very, very important on men. It is important for these men to also know when there are women who are pursuing you, and let's establish this as a society, it's a man to hunt. When the hunter becomes hunted in the relationship thing, things go wrong. I know there are fewer men now, and men of integrity are fewer, but a man should be very careful when a lady has decided it's him and is pursuing them. They should actually take off for their lives, because those are also the men who get trapped, and after they have been trapped like that, now you found me, you've looked for me, I have wasted my time on you, I have wasted my money on you, now you are exclusively for me. And this is a young lady who needs to be looking and pursuing some other things in the other relationship to find out who eventually they marry. But you see, they have already set themselves. Okay, and as we close, there is a march on Saturday across the country for march against femicide, meted against women. So such an exercise, do you think it will play its purpose in helping spread out the word and ending violence against women? It's okay. One protest or doing some of this is in the Constitution, that we have a right to protest or picket or wherever. But as I have said, it's better if we bring up our children well. It's better if we are good role models. It's better if we tell our girls we don't have to show our bodies on social media for us to be attractive. It is good for them to be taught good mannerism and responsibility. It's good for us to tell our young men, sometimes you will feel very bad. Even women will mishandle you, whether they are your mothers or your sisters or your wife. But you don't have to lift your hand. There are ways you can run away, take off, and come back when you have cooled down. It's better than the protest. So the mothers and the men who are sympathetic towards this, as we protest, we need to know that there is a higher responsibility as far as the society is concerned. Right from when children are growing up. Right from their home. Cradle to natural death. Thank you so much. And this is an ongoing conversation. Perhaps we'll call you again to talk more about this. Appreciate you for coming. That is Mary Revize.
former Nairobi MCA. We have been talking about femicide and ending violence against women. Very valid points that she has noted right here in the program. But let's keep the conversation going across all our social media platforms at Lookuptv, on X, on Facebook, and on our YouTube channel. I am Nancy Nalima. Our sign language interpreter has been Felista Adundo. Thank you for watching. Have a lovely night.